Coach, I kind of asked Tom about this a little bit too, but the defense, particularly at the end of the halves, it's over the last couple of weeks has kind of given up a couple crucial swing drives there for scores. What are you seeing in terms of not being able to finish a half that needs to be rectified going into the last game of the year?
Yeah, I think you said the word, right? It's finish. And how we coach those situations, they're all a little bit unique, right? So there's some of them are true 2-minute situations where it's known throw. There's other times that there's, 3 or 4 minutes on the clock and it's normal offensive operation, but it's about finishing plays and finishing drives. We did not do it well enough either half this past week, but that was the big theme, for us. Obviously you saw it 2 weeks ago and on Sunday, our meeting with the defense was, it's all about finish.
Daniel the Met.
Yeah, Coach, you all have had a lot of highs and lows this year, obviously, but entering the finale, I think you guys are last in the conference in yards allowed and second to last in scoring. What do you feel like kind of led to some of those problems this year, and how do you maybe rectify that next year?
Yeah, it's a great question. I just take a week by week, play by play, to be honest with you, not a big picture stats. Obviously that at the end of the year, we look at, we know what we're doing well. We do a weekly self scout, of what's been good or not been as good from there and try to, address those. And to me, it goes back to what do the players do best and, how we put them in position to be able to do that, working really hard at that. And obviously the results at times have been what we want. The results at times have not been what we want, but we expect a high level defense and a really high level product on Saturdays. And, we'll continue to work hard to put us in position to do that.
Nathan Jack.
Hey, Coach. I want to ask you, that touchdown before the end of the first half, I know Phil Dunn was one of your guys. I know he didn't play it the way you guys wanted him to play it. You're up in the booth, so you can't talk to him. But when you did have a chance to speak to him, kind of what was your message? And how do you think he's responded in the last couple of days? Because I know he didn't get to play like the rest of the game after that. Just how do you feel like he's responded to, obviously, a poor judgment play by him? Yeah,
anytime, there's plays that are, he's had great plays and play that like that wasn't good enough, from there. And that's no different than any other guy. And I address it head on, with those guys. Obviously at halftime, I've been able to look those guys in the eyes, and be able to, correct and motivate and get it fixed. And I own every one of their mistakes on game days, no matter who it is, right? So I tell them all the time, they own their attitude and effort, and I own any of the errors that happen, so no different, no matter who the guy is from there is, address it head on, be critical but encourage and move on to the next play.
Jeff and Seth.
Hey, Matt, I'm curious, with this being your first year at Indiana, how you've kind of learned about the history and the importance of this type of rivalry game. Coach Allen has talked about, Mark Deal giving some speeches. Just curious what that has been like for you.
Yeah, it's been great to be able to learn about it. Obviously, there's a lot of tradition, a lot of history behind this game. I was aware of it, obviously being in the Big Ten before and aware of it just from being a college football fan growing up and loving rivalry week, but it's been great to be able to learn the in-depth tradition from Coach Deal for sure. And be able to hear that from him has been awesome. And then on my own too, this was something I did on Saturday night even, be reading up on it. What's the records been? What's the back and forth been? Things like that. So obviously it's a year-long thing. Obviously, anytime you have a big rival to play this week. But yeah, this week, obviously, concentrated focus.
Seth and Pete.
Matt, obviously coming into the year, your secondary, you had a lot of youth in the secondary, whether it was, actual youth, like, freshmen or underclassmen, or youth in terms of, guys that just didn't have a ton of reps to their name at this level. Just coming near the end of the year, how much, obviously some of the results have been there at times, some of it sometimes it hasn't. Just how much progress do you feel like some of those young guys who are really kind of getting a lot of playing time for the first time at this level, how much progress do you feel like those guys have made this season? Yeah,
I think that there's been progress. I think that you've seen that at times of high level, pass defense or in contesting balls and making plays on the football. And then you've seen times when the youth has showed up, right, in critical errors. It's our job to make sure that those are all corrected before we get to game day. But I think that you've seen a little bit of a mixed bag, part of it because of the youth from there and inexperience. No excuses though, but yeah, there's definitely been growth. So some guys have stepped up and, made big time plays. Some of the guys that have been vets, and then, for sure, some of the young guys that have stepped into bigger roles.
Last one.
Hey, Matt, can you talk a little bit about the play of the defensive line this year, the progress they've made, and what you're going to need from them on Saturday?
Yeah, it's going to be a huge point of emphasis for us. It all starts up front with us. I think that you've seen us, play more physical on the front, be more disruptive on the front. And that has to be how we play, from a run and pass standpoint on Saturday. Anytime that you get into big games, but November football in the Big Ten, especially in a rival week, you got to win the line of scrimmage, right? So it's a huge point of emphasis and a challenge for those guys up front. And, it's their job to be able to go establish a mentality and a physicality up front.
All right, thanks, Matt.
Thanks, guys. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.